Alright guys, back with Kedrick. We also had a question about Zercher squats, and more so about the biomechanics of it and what does it do. So we'll talk about that. So with the Zercher squat, first I'll get Kedrick to demonstrate a Zercher squat actually. Just throw it under the bus there mate, go for it. Probably elbows in a little bit. Okay, for anyone who doesn't know, that's our Zercher squat. Puts in the bar in the crook of the elbows, and that's specifically what makes it a Zercher. Go for a couple of reps mate, to show them that. Good. Okay, rack it up mate. Okay, it's a fairly unique exercise. What makes the Zercher? We've got it there in the elbows. What does this do? Okay, let's address a few factors. Number one, yes, it's uncomfortable. Once we get some significant weight on there, it grinds into that tissue around the elbows. It's not pleasant. But two things. One, it's probably no different to the first time you got under a heavy back squat and had the bar on your back. A lot of people are like, oh, it's sensitive on the skin there. Give it a week or so and you do get conditioned to it, it hurts a lot less. But on the flip side, who really cares how much you can Zercher squat? If somebody here is really uncomfortable, put some padding in there, wrap the pad around the bar, it doesn't really matter. Where it fits into a biomechanical side of things, it probably sits somewhere between a front squat and a goblet squat. I'll walk you through that. So let's go again, Kedrick. Search again. Okay, so back. So just stand there. So what have we got? We've got the bar about in line with your sternum. Right, it's holding up high on the elbows. This demands that he uses a lot of upper back stability to hold that bar in place. The bar is trying to unfurl his arms and round him over into thoracic flexions. Come back up. So that's what he's trying to resist. So he's got to be nice and tight to this upper back and not let the bar go. Go through a squat. Now, of course, for him to squat, right, his torso needs to lean forward to squat. That's how we fold up. And Kedrick's got good squat form, so he stays nice and upright. He's nice and tight to the upper back here to keep it upright. But what you find with people who don't squat so cleanly, there's going to be even more of that flexion force trying to pull them down, and then they lose the bar and have to dump it. Come back up, huh? Okay, so that's what makes that's the unique demand, I guess, of the Zercher squat. Okay, with a front squat, whether it's in a cross grip or a clean grip, it's the same sort of thing. The upper back's working, but the bar's sitting this much higher, so it's a different lever length, right? The bar being this high versus the bar being this high. Walking him up. With the goblet squat is really a combination of the two. So again, probably just keep facing this way. Let's get Kedrick to go through a couple of goblet squats. Now, if we look what we've got here with the weight, look where it's displaced. We've got one up at the sternum, much like a front squat. One down at sort of below the sternum, like the Zercher squat. So it's kind of like I said, the Zercher probably sits somewhere in between the two. So go through a couple of goblet squats. So even here, yes, his upper back has to work hard. Come back up. His anterior core works hard. Anytime that we've got that load in front, they're going to be a key factor to the squat. Anterior core and upper back are both going to work. Right, so it's just a slight variation between being the front squat, being a bar across here, being a Zercher squat, the bar's across here, or a goblet squat, where the weight covers both, but it's all in narrow here rather than a long bar being out here, which can perhaps give you some rotation as well. You can let that one down. So where does it fit into a program? It's different. Look, most of your typical clients probably aren't going to enjoy doing the Zercher squat that much. So unless you've got somebody who's a bit more of a hardcore lifter, I'd probably say leave it out. Right? Your mother of three or your office worker probably don't really like the idea of having a heavy barbell jammed into the crook of their elbows. Okay, but that Zercher position has got some other functions too. It doesn't just have to be a squat. We can use this for carries, right? If you want to go sort of really hardcore, again, for somebody who can tolerate it, it's a nice walk variation, a loaded carry, right? So you take the bar, take it out somewhere you've got space, go for a walk for time. It's going to do a couple of things. It's going to smoke your core, it's going to smoke your upper back, as we spoke about. There's also going to be, it's an isometric bicep contraction, and don't discount that, right? If you go for a walk for 50 yards and back with a loaded bar, your biceps are working pretty hard to hold that position there. They're trying to unfurl, they're trying to work eccentrically, you've got to squeeze them back in, right? That's part of the exercise. But then you've got to think, what's going to be the limiting factor here? So we're going to do Zercher carries or Zercher squats. The thing that's going to give out isn't the legs in a squat, and in the carries it's going to be the arms. So what are some other applications for it? perhaps maybe you put those squats in not as your primary lift, right? Maybe if you focus on some single leg work first, some kind of pre-fatigue legs, you're going to get a bit more out of the Zercher squat, right? Because you're not going to need to load the bar up as heavy to get that effect on your legs. Secondly, you don't have to use it for a squat. You could use it for your single leg work. Something like, push the racket up again, Zercher style. So just for a bit of a change of variation, but without needing as much weight, let's just go through a couple of reverse lunges. Right, so just a different loading strategy for a reverse lunge. Right? Or this could be our main lift to pre-fatigue, and then we go and get our squats or deadlifts elsewhere. If we really want to be controversial, we can make a place, we won't do it at the moment because we've got no plates on it. There is such a thing as a Zercher deadlift. Right? And people are going to look at that and cringe and think, geez, that's going to be really dangerous for the back. Well, it depends. I mean, we are allowed to go into some slight lumbar flexion. There's not a rule against that. It's how much can you control that upper back rounding that's going to lead into lumbar flexion. If somebody's got very good mobility and can get right down into that position to scoop under and come up in a deadlift, hey, that's an exercise. It's probably not something I'm going to give to many of my clients, but it is something there to do. And the other thing is the pattern doesn't have to be done with the bar. So as I said, the goblet squat, which this is really a barbell version of the goblet squat, I guess. The goblet squat is in close. We can use something like a sandbell or a sandbag holding there, which will be much more comfortable. It's a lower weight, so it's going to work better for higher reps. And we're not going to have that uncomfortable aspect of the bar. So that's really all it is. Look, it's nothing. It's an interesting movement. It's something I definitely recommend all trainers and coaches try to experience it. It's got a few things that are uncomfortable about it, but it's got some unique benefits as well. Try it out, have a play with it, see what we can get out of it.